Greetings, my name is Fatima Muhammad, and this is my project on a domestic violence shelter for the Community and Social Systems class. I wanted to start off by telling you a little bit about myself and where my interests lie. I've always had a keen interest in working with women and children, and I actually ended up in my undergrad years volunteering at a domestic violence shelter. Although I was only allowed to work in the resource center and the after school daycare with the children, I thoroughly enjoyed my time working at the shelter. During my grad years, I also ended up attending a couple of prevention programs, such as a child abuse prevention picnic, and as well as a couple of other trainings, such as the Stewards of Children. Later on, I ended up also attending a teen dating summit where they talk to teens about dating violence. And that is brought to you by a agency called Partners Against Domestic Violence. Domestic violence is defined by the Office of Violence Against Women as a pattern of abusive behavior in any relationship that is used by one partner to gain or maintain power and control over another intimate partner. Hence, domestic violence is also called intimate partner violence. I found this information on the Georgia Commission on Family Violence website. Some may not know that abuse is also defined as psychological, financial, it can be sexual, and emotional. And many of us are aware that women are usually the victims of intimate partner violence. However, there are cases where there are men who have been victims as well. In fact, 1 in 7 men have experienced severe physical violence by an intimate partner. And as you know, domestic violence can happen regardless of ethnicity, social economic status, gender, or even sexual preference. And it has no relevance in terms of whether you're middle class or you're famous. It can happen to various celebrities such as Charlie Sheen, Sean Penn and Madonna, Ozzy Osbourne. You even seen the famous feud between Chris Brown and Rihanna, as well as the family violence with Beyonce, Jay-Z, and Solange. Here, I've also included a couple of videos in which one is the Ray Rice incident. So I will warn you that that one is a little bit more um, brutal to kind of watch. Um, and I also have another video where it's more of an experiment, just showing you the difference of how others are affected when a woman is being abused and the difference between when a woman is abusing a man. So I'm going to go to the Ray Rice video first.
Football star cut by the Ravens tonight, suspended by the NFL after a troubling new video has surfaced. You'll remember these images: Rice dragging his then fiancee out of an elevator. But tonight, for the first time, we're seeing something else. What happened in the moments before, and then what happened next, now costing him his job. Tonight, the NFL taking action. What will authorities now do? ABC's Ryan Smith.
The video chilling. Football star Ray Rice following his then fiancee Janae into an Atlantic City hotel elevator, striking her once, then again, seemingly punching her so hard she hits a railing and is knocked out cold. You see her here, lying on the floor, then slumped near the elevator. Players today appalled. By early afternoon, the Ravens had terminated Rice's contract. The NFL suspending him indefinitely. The question for many tonight: what took so long? NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell saying today he never saw the video of the assault, but he did see that other video released in February showing Rice dragging the unconscious Janae out of the elevator. Tonight, his jersey no longer for sale online at the NFL store.
What's going on, guys? This is Mo. This is CT. And this is Odd TV. Today we're with singer actress Yo Yang. Today we're doing the domestic violence experiment.
I'm gonna be abusing him, he's gonna be abusing me, and we're gonna see who gets more attention.
You was talking to him last night?
Listen.
Listen, yeah? Listen, you could tell me the truth. You could tell me the truth! Why you talking to that guy last night?
I wasn't!
Listen, don't talk to guys. Listen! Why you was talking? I'm not playing. I'm not playing.
What are you doing?
Oh, chill. Yo, we're filming. We're filming. Look,
You alright?
we're filming a social experiment. Look.
You okay?
We're just
Are you
raising
alright?
awareness. We're just filming, bro. No, we're filming a social experiment. It's
She
cool,
alright?
man. Thanks for raising awareness, man. And we're filming a social experiment for domestic violence. Thanks a lot, man.
Right?
Yeah.
YouTube? Yeah?
Yeah.
I know, it's a prank type. They do stuff like
Yeah.
that.
We're just filming a.
I don't know about you, but
He's about to attack you right now,
Right.
too.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, though,
Hey, not a problem,
for
man.
saying something, you know?
No problem, man.
Thank you guys for Look, we're filming. Thank you guys for
Don't do that.
Listen.
Don't do that.
Listen.
Don't touch the woman. Don't touch the woman, huh?
Listen, thank you for saying something. We're filming. We're filming. We're filming on social media.
You're going to jail.
We're just raising awareness for domestic violence.
You f***ing cheating on me again? You texting that girl again, huh?
I wasn't cheating at
I
you.
saw that picture too.
I wasn't cheating at you.
Fuck on the ground.
I wasn't cheating on you.
Serious? Are you serious right now? Are you serious? Are you serious? Are you serious? You don't do that shit to me.
I wasn't cheating on you.
Hell.
I
You texted that girl again.
wasn't cheating on you.
I f***ing caught you red-handed, dude.
I wasn't cheating on you. It's allowed, not in the public.
So again, I just wanted to show you guys just how, it's often just looked at when a woman is abusing a man. You see the ongoers just kind of going by about their business and not really caring. So, although domestic violence happens all over the world and not just our country, I decided to just focus on Georgia as what's where I live, and that's where I would be opening up a shelter. Georgia actually ranks the eighth in the nation of domestic violence deaths by men. And you see, below as well that, a little over 1,500 people or victims are unable to be placed in a shelter, and that was just last year. And it also, goes on to tell you just, 121 violence related deaths in 2016, as well as, how many people actually placed calls to the crisis shelters. In terms of my research, I chose to do appreciative inquiry as my method to just mostly focus on and expound upon the strengths of already established domestic violence shelters. I found appreciative inquiry also aids to exemplify various processes of how each domestic violence shelter upholds specific values that can be applied to various systems and shelters. In fact, I end up reading a article in which is called Challenges and Retention of Domestic Violence Shelter Advocates, a Grounded Theory by Merchant and Whiting in 2015. I love this article because it more so focused on the advocates versus, we always focusing on the clients. And in the article, it talks about the staff's quality of work life and their balance of working with other staff as well as clients. The article discusses various solutions that aid the advocates in decreasing burnout and aiding their everyday work lives. Researchers found that when the advocates were supported by other staff and given mental health days and encouraged to take vacations, of course, they were less likely to experience burnout or quit. They also shared that when their strengths were identified in various meetings and case staffings by the directors, it helped to increase their motivation to work with the clients. My Venn diagram here just kind of discusses who my program, which is called Attentive Behavioral and Transitional Care Services, will be working with. We will be working with women and children that are victims of the family or domestic violence. We will also be working with them to give them the mental health and social services that they need. These will be, of course, emergency services to help them return successfully to the community, and assist them, with any other needs they might need while they're residing at the shelter. In my research, as well as through my interview of my needs assessment, I found that much of the funding comes from, United Way, fraternal organizations, grants, churches, public charities, private investors. Even Verizon Wireless has a program in which they donate their old phones to domestic violence victims. Once I open up my program, I actually would like to do a fun costume charity ball. That way, the clients are able to still maintain their identities and be kept confidential, and it'll also be something fun to raise, funding to give back to the particular clients. Intensive Behavioral and Transitional Care Services will be a nonprofit agency that will provide short-term emergency services that cater to holistic needs such as housing, meals, clothing, medication management, transportation, yoga, as well as individual counseling, group counseling, and other social service assistance. The shelter will begin by only housing 50 adult women in an undisclosed location of apartments that will consist of 2 to 3 bedrooms. The shelter will be open 24 hours, 7 days a week with an after-hours unit to take in the emergency calls, as well as the clients that may need to come in during, not office hours. All meals will be provided by staff. However, women will have the opportunity to cook their own dinner as well, as long as it doesn't conflict with the particular services that will be provided. All meals, some of the other meals will be able to be provided by a holistic coach that will come once a week to provide demonstrations on how to cook nutritious meals as well as meal prep. Transportation will be a van that will transport them from the apartments to the main office or the daycare. Some of the ladies will also receive what we call MARTR cards or bus tokens to be able to ride the bus or train to get around the city, whether they are going to educational appointments, social service appointments, or if they actually have employment.